Freda Miriklis, and I'm the second Vice President for BBW International, otherwise known here at the United Nations as the International Federation for Business and Professional Women. And I chair the United Nations Committee for BBW on the Commission on the Status of Women. Oh, sorry, on CSW, yes. So, I thought whilst we're waiting for Joan Libby Hawke, who is the advisor behind the Women Empowerment Principles with UN Women, I thought I'd just give you a little bit of a background as to the journey and how we are here today with the UN, with the Women Empowerment Principles. So, the principles that you have before you are in fact an updated version of what we referred to as the Calvert Principles back in 2004. And it was an initiative started with UNIFEM at the time, which is now UN Women, and the organisation, so UN Women and Calvert. And they developed these 7 principles. It was decided that an ongoing year-long consultation process would begin. And that's how my organisation got involved. There were multi-stakeholders that were consulted in this process, ranging from multinational multinational corporations to NGOs like BPW International and a whole plethora of others. Academia were consulted widely as well. And we basically came up with these 7 general principles. Now, when you see the principles themselves, and you have them before you, they are very general. And they are general for very good reason. Because these need to be taken across all the regions of the world, and we are dealing with lots of cultures, different situations, and so they are very general so that they can be adapted by countries, and then if they are actually used by companies themselves, they can then be adapted internally by that company. So we're talking about a roadmap. This is, if you will, a roadmap for corporations that want to be consciously minded about tapping into and retaining half of their workforce, which are the females. This gives them the guidance that they need. So if they follow these 7 key principles, this will actually attract and retain key female talent within their organisations. And that is what is so exciting about this. So our research that was conducted with academia, with input from multinational corporations, what it showed us was this, that corporations might be doing they might have high-level commitment at the top, they may have promotion of education, training, professional type development courses that they are running internally, but they may not be doing 2, 5, 6 and 7 of the principles. Now, our research tells us that when the 7 are actually used, that's when we're starting to get changes. And the sort of changes that we're talking about here are the cultural and the behavioural changes within corporations that we know exist. And sometimes they are deeply embedded in the walls of the corporation. That as women going to work, we know that we feel a sense of discrimination. We know that we don't get the same opportunities as what some of our male colleagues may have the opportunities to experience. And so this is very much about getting total commitment from the CEO or from the C-level management, and it is about giving a guideline that that buy-in can be received from employees right down through to the grassroots levels. And so it's about changing those cultures. Now, we're not going to change things overnight because we're dealing with changes here that have happened in centuries. So these developments that we're talking about that are deeply entrenched need to change over time, but this is a start. And what's so exciting about this is that it is a true partnership, bringing together the United Nations, bringing together the private sector, bringing together the NGOs. And we are very much needed in this process because it's up to us to bring it to the attention to the governments in our countries, to bring together the private sector, to arrange consultations, to arrange events around the Women Empowerment Principles, and to bring that all together. It is the role of civil society, that is you and me, to be able to bring those parties together. And I think we are just living in exciting times. I've just come back from the General Assembly opening of the official CSW meetings, and I heard Michelle Bachelet, the Under Secretary General and our new Executive Director of UN Women, and she spoke about this exciting initiative in terms of now UN is engaging more with its stakeholders. And so with that, I'd like to urge all of you to think about what you can actually do to crystallise these, to work in partnership or to work in association with the UN, to think about what you can do at the government level, to think about how you can use your spheres of influence in the private sector as well. And with that, I'd like to now hand over to Joan Libby Hawke, who is a great friend not only of UNIFEM and the National Committee here, but also of BPW International, and I can certainly attest to the fact that she's extremely helpful in helping not only the NGO community, but in crystallising this vision that we have before us with the Women Empowerment Principles. And it's my great pleasure. Thank you.